All right, let's talk about Kera candy. This was a product that was supposed to be a health revolution, right? It was backed by some of Vietnam's biggest and most trusted stars. But you know that sweet dream they were selling? It turned into a total nightmare of fraud, sneaky cover-ups, and some really serious legal trouble. So the big question is, how did a simple piece of candy blow up into such a massive scandal?
So this was the line that started it all. Each candy is equivalent to a plate of vegetables. I mean, just think about that for a second. Imagine you could get all the good stuff from a plate of veggies just by eating a single piece of candy. If you're a parent with a kid who hates vegetables, or hey, maybe you just struggle to eat healthy yourself, that sounds like an absolute miracle, doesn't it? Well, that one simple idea, it hooked thousands of people and was the start of a huge deception.
So who was pushing this miracle message? Well, it wasn't just anybody. It was a trio of Vietnam's most beloved and trusted personalities. We're talking about huge names like Miss Grand International Thùy Tiên and mega influencers Hằng and Quang Vlogs. Look, when you've got millions of followers hanging on your every word, your endorsement isn't just an ad, it feels like a personal recommendation, a promise. And just like that, with their star power behind it, Kera Candy absolutely exploded.
Okay, so how on earth did they build this empire of trust so fast? Well, the marketing was brilliant, no doubt about it. It was slick, it was professional, and it was aimed right at anyone trying to live a healthier life. But the real secret sauce, it was all in the promises they made.
And just look at how perfectly they built this thing. It wasn't just, hey, there's some vegetable powder in here. No, they claimed a whopping 28%. They showed you videos of these amazing certified farms and super clean factories. They hammered home the vitamins, the fiber. But the real masterstroke? The thing that got everyone? They said it was safe for kids and even pregnant women. I mean, every single one of these points was designed to build layer upon layer of trust, to make you believe this wasn't just a candy, it was a revolution.
But you know how these things go. The product was flying off the shelves, but people started asking questions. And once the official investigator stepped in, well, that shiny, glamorous wrapper was ripped right off. And what they found underneath was a totally different story. That miracle cure? Yeah, it was anything but.
Okay, this right here lays it all out. Plain and simple. The promise versus the reality. That 28% vegetable powder they were so proud of, turns out it was less than 1%. Not even close. And those beautiful certified farms and high-tech factories? All of it? The videos were completely faked. And maybe the worst part, that natural fiber effect that people were actually feeling, it had nothing to do with vegetables. It came from a chemical laxative that they didn't even list on the ingredients.
And this chart, wow, this really drives the point home. You see that tiny little sliver right there? That's the actual amount of vegetable powder in the candy, less than 1%. Now look at that huge chunk. Over a third of the entire candy was something called sorbitol. And here's the kicker. It wasn't listed anywhere on the label. Nowhere. So what exactly is sorbitol?
Well, sorbitol is a sugar alcohol, basically a sweetener. But it has a very well-known side effect. It acts as a laxative. So what the company allegedly did was just genius in a really terrible way. They took this chemical side effect, deliberately left the ingredient off the label, and then turned around and marketed that physical reaction as the candy's amazing natural fiber effect. People thought they were being healthy, but they had absolutely no clue what they were really putting into their bodies.
And you know what? This whole scheme worked. It worked incredibly well. Fueled by all that influencer hype and trust, they pulled in 17.5 billion Vietnamese dong. To put that in perspective, that's nearly 57,000 different customers who bought this stuff, who believed the lie before the truth finally caught up. The sheer scale of this operation was just mind-boggling.
But wait, the story doesn't stop with just a fraudulent product. Oh no. When people started getting suspicious and the heat was on, did the folks behind Kera Candy fess up? Nope. Instead, they allegedly decided to double down and orchestrate a cover-up, all in an attempt to protect the image of their biggest star.
Okay, so to really get what happens next, you have to understand this one crucial fact. Thùy Tiên wasn't just some hired influencer reading a script. The investigation alleges she was a co-owner, holding a 30% stake in the whole operation. This wasn't just another sponsorship gig for her. She was a partner, a key player who stood to make an absolute fortune. And that little detail, it changes everything.
So check out this timeline. It lays out the alleged cover-up step by step. In late February 2025, the whole scandal just explodes online. So Thùy Tiên reportedly goes to her management company, Sen Vàng, and asks for help to protect her image. Then, on March 7th, a new advertising contract gets signed. But here, and you gotta get this, here is the wild part. They allegedly backdate that contract all the way to December 5th of the year before. That's before the candy even launched. Why? To create a fake paper trail to make it look like she was never a co-owner, just a promoter they hired from the very beginning.
Look, intentionally backdating a contract like that is a huge deal. It's not just a little white lie. And once investigators uncovered not only the product fraud but also this alleged cover-up, the consequences for everyone involved came down, and they came down hard.
For Thùy Tiên, the fallout was, well, it was catastrophic. She and her partners are now facing indictment for deceiving customers, which could mean up to 5 years in prison. She was arrested in May, and the damage to her reputation was instant. We're talking huge global brands like Dior dropping her from campaigns. Even her own management company, Sen Vàng, terminated her contract, basically saying we want nothing to do with this. In a matter of weeks, her entire empire just crumbled.
You know, the whole Kera candy scandal is such a powerful and kind of scary cautionary tale for the age we live in. It really shines a spotlight on the incredible power influencers have, and what happens when that trust is completely shattered. So it all boils down to this one big question. When an influencer sells a lie, who really pays the price? Is it just the influencer who loses their career? Is it the 57,000 customers who are lied to? Or is the damage much bigger than that? Does it hurt our ability to trust anything we see online?